In the Bible, when Jesus came, back with like the sword of his mouth and stuff, there's also scripture passages about Jesus not coming to like unify everyone, but to divide them, kind of thing. Okay, and I'm gonna just give an example of truth here. So the order of creation is not what the religious have been teaching. Okay, for example, if you've seen some of my other videos, um, like what has been spoken in some of the secular environment, um, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Okay, there's truth in that. The problem is they mixed. So the men shouldn't have been mixing seed with the women. Okay, there are two different types of people, and I explained that in at least one of those videos. Okay, so I'm gonna just use my sword here and bring some division. There are two different kinds of people, a man and a woman, okay? They're not supposed to be together, and I'm gonna just explain a few natural points, okay? Now, what I was taught was religious BS, and that went against what is natural for me, and that went against what is natural for genders, types. So for example, this is kind of gross, but because a woman has a vagina and a guy has, you know, a penis that he wants to be led by, apparently, they think they had me believing that the hole was meant for the penis to go through, you know what I mean? No. That in one of my other videos, what is unnatural is for that to happen because they're causing the woman's vagina to break. That is unhealthy for the woman. That is unnatural. Okay? And that messes up the guy's penis. Okay, by the way, my information was put into condoms. Yeah, I'm serious. Big no-no, okay? Alright, so what happened is what I noticed socially, and this is natural for men and women, or boys and girls. Remember when we were little, like my generation or whatever, something like, now I have my cootie shot or whatever kind of thing. The girls only wanted to stay with the girls, and the guys only wanted to stay with the guys, or the boys only wanted to stay with the boys, and the women only wanted to stay with the women, the men only wanted to stay with the men. Okay. There's a reason why guys hang out with guys so much, and why they enjoy that. That's natural. You see what I'm saying? They naturally, like, are at peace with each other. They're naturally comforted by each other. Okay? And same thing with women. Women are naturally at peace with each other and naturally comforted by each other. But when an opposite gender comes in the way, that breaks the natural social like setting of their environments or of their type of worlds, okay? So for me, I'm both naturally. And I've been told I'm naturally the only one that has both genders. Naturally. Now, there are trans people that change their natural state to an unnatural state. So there are some women that change to something they're not, to more of a man-like state. And there are men that change their form into an unnatural state, which is unnatural for them to be a woman. Okay? Hold on. Soda with vodka. I'm not drunk. Anyway. The unnatural state of the Bible is when people are showing, like, there's a scripture reference that says people are showing the unnatural affection for each other. That's what happened. Okay, also the new is not always the best. For example, Haman. Was Ham in the Bible? Okay. Haman is the enemy of the Bible, of the righteous in the Bible. Haman is the enemy of God. Those kind of people, because they're demons in the flesh, they're devils in the flesh, according to the scriptures. And the unnatural state for a man and a woman would be to have intercourse with those type of people also. So Mars and Venus were starting to mix seed, and that's unnatural for them. That is not God's original creation. You see what I'm saying? They went against God's seed, okay? But then what's even worse is the Hamans were starting to mix their seed with Mars and Venus. And that is completely abominable to God. Okay, so what's going on, like, with the reference in Revelation is there is what is called the Whore of Babylon. That is not me. I have been mistaken for that. But that is the religious that made a deal with bankers to make money through my head. So everyone involved that called me a whore of Babylon is the whore of Babylon, and I am not. Okay, so in a sense, they're at my mercy if I want to show them mercy. All right, anyway. Okay, so I can reproduce, but I am that I am, and I have called myself that since childhood. The religious took that phrase and mistranslated that in the Bible. That phrase is what I called myself and the way I describe myself since childhood. Okay, and then all these religious communities are like praising God, the I am that I am. And I'm like, ooh, I'm right here. You know, where's my tithes and offerings? You know, the Godhead and the flesh. And where's my soulmates? You know, the ones that you defiled, Christ's brides. You know, we're supposed to have this like amazing wedding feast, pure and spotless, holy, set apart. And you all mix them in. So the Whore of Babylon is actually an international, the way I describe that on my channel might be an international religious mob. And they're all socialist, the ones that look through my head. They want to be non-socialist. They want to be non-communist. But I'm telling you, the whole scandal through my head, that's socialism. But I'm not a socialist. And I'm like, you all preach about someday when Christ comes back. And I kept coming back. And I kept coming back. Here I am again. Came back like every day, every night, every moment I was slain. And they're like, someday when Christ comes back on the clouds. Meanwhile, when they persecuted me in religious places, there was a cloud And they're like, Christ is going to come on a white horse. Coming in the clouds. Very mystical, right? And I'm like, I rode a miniature pony horse that was white at a carnival. You know, I'm like, anyway. So the seed was mixed against God. So for example, I was raped so many times. I have my own seed. That is a pure, undefiled seed. But what the people did wrong was they mixed their seed with other genders. They mixed their seed with Hamans, which are demons and devils, the way I'm describing that, the way the Bible describes that. Ham is not the seed of Israel. Big no-no. They snuck in there, wannabes, okay? Just like they've been doing in the USA and other places around the world where they wanted compensation. They wanted to steal my compensation for what they did wrong to my head. They wanted my assets. They wanted my food. They wanted my soulmates. They wanted everything I wanted because they look through my head, and the device they have in their head, including everyone else involved, involves my desires, not theirs. So the moment those people engaged in that activity, is like they were losing their own soul. The moment they agreed to look through my head, their soul is in danger for those who had souls. Okay? So I have been praying for the soul of my nation. That is me. And I also prayed for everyone else's souls that ever had souls. Okay? Souls came back, but souls have been persecuted because my soul has been persecuted constantly. Every time someone looks through my head, that persecutes my soul.